Babes, and welcome to my book nook. For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy Barton. I teach music and I also read tons of books. I read all different genres, mainly thriller, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, and romance, but I read anything else as well. So if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe down to my channel below. It really helps my channel grow. In today's video, we are talking all about the mid-year freak out book tag. I did this last year. Everybody and their mother is doing it. I was going to wait until the end of June, but it just seems like the popular thing to do right now, and I've been having so much fun watching everybody's. If you don't know what it is, I'll put all the questions down below. I don't know who originated this tag, but basically it's just answering questions about like your favorite books for like the middle of the year, which because we are currently in June and I have read 72 books, which is way more than I had read at this time last year, and my goal is 110 and I'm like 20 books ahead. So I actually could crack my goal and I'm very, very excited about that. So we are just going to go through the questions, give you my best answers. I'll hold up some of the books, I'll put up pictures for some of them because if they're buried deep in my shelves, then I'm just not going to dig around for them. And with that, let's get started. So question number one is, what is your best book of this year? I have two. I'm sorry, I have two. I'm still deciding between the two. I think I know the answer, but we're going to go with it. And the first one is Magnolia Parks by Miss Jess Hastings. I had never read any books of hers before. I had only seen people saying like it's a toxic relationship. It's like the better version of Normal People if you didn't like Normal People, which I agree, it's way better because I've read both. And that it's going to be really, really tragic and pull on your heartstrings. And it really did. I love it so much. It is so good. I think about that couple all the time. I'm so excited to start Magnolia Parks Long Way Home soon. I'm just kind of like hesitant on starting it soon because then the series will be over. And then the one that might take it away that I read after, now that I'm in my fantasy romance era, is Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. And no, it is not Fourth Wing. I did read Fourth Wing, but I liked Serpent and the Wings of Night better, which I'll dive into at a different time. Miss Carissa has my heart. I loved that series. I read that and I read Six Scorched Roses right after. I'm about to bring the Ashes of the Star-Cursed King. That series is my heart. Oreya and Rain have my heart forever. Vampires and magic and romance. Like, what more could you ask for? I really don't know. But I love that book so very much and I cannot wait to read it again so that I can annotate it and have the audiobook this time. The next question is, what is the best sequel that you've read this year? I have two for this one as well. I won't have two for all of them. I'm sorry. I can't always pick. And one would be Stolen Heir by Sophie Lark. I'm currently reading my way through her Brutal Birthright series. And this is book number 2, which is a captive Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's the most accurate Beauty and the Beast retelling that I've seen, but add a little mafia romance and spice into it. I loved it so very much. I love Miko. I love Nessa. They're a cute little couple. And look at this gorgeous hot man cover. I mean, can you resist? And then my other one would be Daisy Haites, which is the sequel to Magnolia Parks, which is not really a sequel in the sense because it follows two different characters within the Magnolia Parks universe, but it is a sequel because it's the second book in the series. I was not vibing with it at the start because I didn't care about Daisy and Christian and Julian nearly as much. By the end of it, I cared about them just as much. I love that whole series. Like I said, I'm very excited for book number 3, so I'm very glad that I'm continuing on with this series. The next question is, what are some new releases that you haven't read yet but you want to? I have a couple. Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I've been wanting to read that for forever. I just want to read from R.F. Kuang in general because I've never read The Poppy War from them yet. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I've heard it's like a gothic thriller and that he's back in his bag and he knows how to write again, so I'm excited for that. And The Whispers by Ashley Audrain, which I'm going to get with next month's book of the month. I could have gotten it this month, but I skipped this book this month because none of the books appealed to me, but I loved The Push. It's one of my favorite books of like all time. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and so I'm just hoping that this one is just as good. I've heard like good and bad about it, but I love her, so I'm definitely excited to get to that soon. The next question is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? And I have two. Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, which comes out in November. Obviously, that is the sequel to Fourth Wing, which I did love. Like, I'm not like a hater. It just wasn't my favorite book of the year because I recognize that it's written a little more YA, even though it's supposed to be adult characters. And I just feel like the writing in Serpent was a little bit better. But Iron Flame. And then Hopeless by Elsie Silver, which is Beau's story. I read Flawless recently. Absolutely loved it. I'm binging my way through the rest of the series. And I just kept wondering, Beau gonna get a story? Is Beau gonna get a story? And he finally is. And I think it comes out in October. And so I'm very excited for that. The next one says, what is your biggest disappointment? And I have two. And one is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. That was probably my most anticipated book of the year. I love Geneva Rose. I loved One of Us is Dead. I haven't read The Perfect Marriage yet, but I ate up One of Us is Dead. And so I expected to love this, and I didn't. I mean, I gave it 3 stars. It was just in the middle, but it was supposed to be a thriller, but it was like way more romancy than I wanted. And then like the end was just kind of rushed in like 2 pages, and it just didn't make sense. And the guy was creepy. It was just not a vibe for me. And I am not the only one that felt that way. A lot of people have been disappointed with that book. And my other disappointment is Legends and Lattes. Why? I gave it 3.5 stars. It's a perfectly fine book. Cute, cozy fantasy. But everyone hyped it up so much saying it was going to be like the best book ever, and it just was not. It just was a book. It was fine. It was cute. I had a good little time with it. Would I read it again? No. Am I going to read the prequel bookshops or Bone Dust or whatever it's called? Yes. Because I liked it enough to read that. But I probably won't buy that. I'll probably, oh, who am I getting? I gotta buy that because I own Legends and Lattes. But yeah, it was okay. Don't shoot me for saying that. The next one is, what was your biggest surprise? And I have got to say, and this video has not come out yet, so I'm not going to elaborate a lot on this. House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I am reading this for a vlog that is coming out soon, and I didn't know what I was expecting with it. It was a YA little horror book. I thought it was going to be whatever. It was so good. I gave it 4.5 stars. I was living my life with this book. It was so good. It was unexpected. It gave me Bunny vibes. It gave me Catherine House vibes. It gave me all of those vibes. And I had a fabulous time with it. So I would definitely pick up from that author again. The next one is, who is your favorite new author? And I have 3 for this. Miss Carissa Broadbent, who has written like Serpent and the Wings of Night. She also has her Daughter of No World series, which I want to get to super soon. So definitely Miss Carissa. Can't write anything wrong in my eyes. Jess Hastings, the Magnolia Parks author, obviously, because I've rated 2 of her books 4.5 and 5 stars. And then Miss Sophie Lark, because I've read 2 books from her so far, and she also has gotten 2 5 stars from me. I love all of them. They are all insanely talented. One is fantasy romance, one is just like romance, like more contemporary romance, and then one is dark romance, and I love them all. Love them all. The next one says, who is your newest fictional crush? And I have 2. Rhett from Flawless. I love him very much. I know everybody's listening to this is going to say, Cade is so much better. Well, I haven't read Cade from Heartless yet. So Rhett from Flawless, I love him with my whole heart. He's just a cute little bull rider boy, and him and Summer are the cutest. And then Captain Ramsay from A Ship of Bones and Teeth. That is like the big pirate dude in this dark Little Mermaid fantasy retelling. And I'm just telling you, I had a fabulous time with this book, and I would be with this Captain Ramsay. I would. And that's all I'm going to say. The next one says, who is your newest favorite character? And I have 2, and they're from the same book, Serpent and the Wings of Night, Aurea and Rain. Although if I'm really being serious, I have 3 because Misha is right along with them. They're like the dynamic trio. I just love them so much. They're so very cute. Also, Aurea and Rain's romance is like everything that I ever want. I just want to be all their friends. I want Aurea to be my friend. I want everyone to be my friend in that series. I just want to be in that world, if we're being quite honest about it. The next one is, what book has made you cry? And the answer is none. I'm cold-hearted. I'm kidding. I'm not cold-hearted, but I don't cry at books. If a book ever gets me to cry, that will be my favorite book of all time. I'm saying that now. If a book ever makes me cry, it will. And people are saying Jade Legacy might be the one to do it. But we'll just have to see now, won't we? What about a book that made you happy? And I have a couple. Flawless by Elsie Silver. I had the best time reading that. 6 Scorched Roses. That was like the best little novella I've ever read. Like, I had so much fun with this like cute little Beauty and the Beast type romance that Carissa Broadbent wrote. Great book. And Amari and the Night Brothers. I read that because Neva and Brittany both wanted to read it. Neva's already read it. I loved that little middle grade series. I was not expecting to love it, but everybody that reads it ends up ranking it high, and I ranked it 4 stars as well. So I cannot wait to get to the sequel for that one. The next one is, what is your favorite book to movie adaptation? And I only watched one, and that would be Daisy Jones and the Six. Actually, I lied. I would also say Heartstopper, because I watched that at the beginning of this year. So Daisy Jones and the Six and Heartstopper, because Heartstopper is just god tier. You can't do anything wrong with these little babies. And then Daisy Jones and the Six, I thought that was pretty accurate. The music was great, the casting was great, the costumes was great, the vibe was great, and that book is great. It was everything I could have ever wanted from a reboot and more. The next one is, what is the most beautiful book that you have acquired? And I'm going to have to grab 3, because there are 3 for this answer. Obviously, the top one would be my special edition of Gothicana by Runix. I mean, just look at it in all its beauty and all its glory. I'm very excited that I have this. But I would also say Daughter of No World. This is just a stunning cover. But I would also dare to say Blood Mercy. I mean, just look at that. They're gorgeous. Can there be anything better? I really am a sucker for a pretty book though. I really am. And the next one says, what are some books that you need to read before the end of the year? And I have a lot of them. I need to finish the Throne of Glass series. I'm currently reading that. I need to reread House of Earth and Breath and then read House of Earth and Blood and read House of Sky and Breath before House of Shadow and Flames or whatever, the third book in the Crescent City series comes out. So I need to read all of those. And then honestly, I just need to read the rest of my 2023 and 2022 anticipated and new releases, if we're being honest. I also need to read Daughter of No Worlds. There's a lot of books I need to read that I haven't read. And then I saw two other, depending on whose tag you followed, there were two other questions. So I'm going to do a couple here. Another one was, what are your favorite videos that you've made this year so far? And mine would be my fantasy romance reads vlog where I read Serpent and the Wings of Night and Fourth Wing, because I read those pretty much back to back and those were fantastic. Some of the best books I've read this year. So that was a fantastic vlog. I will link that underneath here. And then my Agatha Christie vlog where I read 8 to 10 different retellings of And Then There Were None. And I had so much fun with it. The thumbnail is my favorite. It was a vibe. It was a time. And I really think that you should go check that one out if you haven't, because I spent a lot of time and effort reading these books, y'all. And some of these books were awful. Awful. And some of them were all right. Also, I've learned And Then There Were None, not really my thing. And then the last question is, who are some content creators that you've been loving? And I'm just going to name a couple off the top of my head. Obviously, Kayla from Books and Lala, Hailey Hughes, who I love. She's fabulous. And then I've gotten into a couple romance girlies like Jess from Honest Fiction, Michae from Oh Hey It's Michae, That Tall Girl, Peace Love Books, Rachel, Raven-Haired Reader for fantasy. And then, yeah. So I'll link all those channels down below. Those are all channels that I watch on a regular basis that I just love. Oh, and Gabby reads. I can't forget her. I watch all of her stuff. I also watch all of Meg with books, and I don't like anything mystery. I don't care for any of the mystery stuff that she reads, but I just love her. I just love her so much. Oh, and Gavin, How to Train Your Gavin. You know what? There's so many, but I can't name any more because otherwise we'll be here forever. And that is it for this mid-year freak out book tag. I hope you had fun with this. Let me know if we had any of the same answers down in the comment below. Obviously, I can't wait to see everybody else's because I'm sure I'm going to see a million more of these coming down the pike. And with that, I'll catch you guys in another video soon. Bye.